Welcome to Pagan Crafting. Today we're going to look at the season symbols, Celtic Ogham Decor, a little bit of crafting with nature, with the trees, with the forest. Everything I use here, from the symbols to the type of wood that I use here, will mean something in today's craft. Stick with me, stay tuned, and let's have some fun with some old school tribal Celtic pagan crafting. Well, today we got something very cool in store for you. I had absolute pleasure making this. You're gonna need 3 pieces of wood, 4 pieces of sliced cookies. You can use a Jiffy marker or a burning tool, hot glue, pencil, a drill, and also twine. Taking our 4 cookies, you're going to lay them out in a triangle-like shape at first. Don't drill your holes out yet. Lay everything out first. I've chosen ash wood for the cookies because ash wood connects to the world of spiritual inspiration and helps me take action. I have apple wood here. I'm going to cut these 2 pieces directly in half because I would like 4 equal pieces. Now the apple tree I collected, I think about 4 years ago. It is so dried out and beautiful. It has a nice clink clunk sound too. I'm just going to mark off the end. It's a little bit frayed, so I'm going to cut that off nice and neat. And I'm going to cut this one into 3 different parts, unequal size, from small, medium to large. Now the apple tree is about love affairs, beauty, healing, nourishment, living fully. That's what is beneficial. So everything here that I've chosen has a reason. Now this is going to be for my new year for myself. It's a decoration for my living room. And I want to kind of consecrate the new year. So I'm going to use different symbols in this to represent the new year to come. Now the 4 pieces of the cookies, I'm going to represent the symbols. And the 4 pieces of the apple tree stem, I'm going to use some Ogham symbols. And those are going to represent some trees that I wish to invoke for my new year and for my channel, actually. All the creativity that will be with me. Blessed be. So just kind of working everything out, marking where everything is going to lay down. I'm going to mark out now in little tiny black circles where I'm going to drill out. You don't want to drill out too close to the bark because it could blow out. And then this one, I'm just going to mark. I need to mark about the distance between the apple tree stems and the ash cookies. Ash is also known as the divine tree. It is the tree for the tree of life. The ash tree is really cool that it also is my mother's maiden name. She is Irish, and the ash name, the Culligan name, has to do with the ash tree. So I thought having the ash wood was kind of cool to represent my family as well. So all those little black dots is where I'm gonna drill out now with my drill. Now I have chosen about an eighth of an inch, almost 2/8, so it's like 1/4 of an inch, but I'd say about 1/8 of an inch drill bit. Ta-da! Magic of YouTube land. It is all done. Now I did have some of the bark that did push off. So as you can see here, I got some loose bits, but what I did, I hot glued it back on. Let those cool. Now what I'm gonna do a wrap. Lay down some hot glue. And this twine, I found you can get it it's a packing twine for parcels. It's a wrap twine. You could use it for laying down your garden. I use it for crafts. I buy 3 in a package for $1.50. It is so inexpensive and amazing. I use it for absolutely everything, as you probably see it on much of my crafts, and it is in the hardware section. I don't even buy it in the craft section. Now I'm going to cut off the excess here, and I'm going to lay down a small bead of hot glue just to secure that into place. Tighten it up and secure it. And I'm going to repeat that in the exact same center point of each of the top 3 pieces. Now each of the top 3 pieces, you want to wrap the twine on equal points. But the 4 pieces at the bottom, they're going to be a little bit off center. They're going to be a bit different than the top 3. The top 3 we want a really cool stagger. Now you can see when I wrap it, I overlap the first line ever so slightly, and it just anchors it on quite nicely that way. It's just a way to kind of loop it and anchor it, even though the glue's there for you, but that way it hides that running end as well. And repeating for the top one, done. Now I'm going to have, these ones are not in the center, they're going to be a little bit higher because I want to carve down the running end of those pieces of stick, so I'm going to only have the wrap near the top of it. Ooh, I forgot to include this in the beginning, what we're going to need, but it's just a nice little X-Acto knife. I wouldn't use a razor or a knife. A nice blade, or if you do have a knife with a handle, it's going to be the best for you. Now I'm using apple tree here, so it's extremely easy to carve, so I'm just going very, very slowly because it comes off very, very, very nicely. I just want to expose ever so slightly the bark, just enough that I'd be able to write it right on. Now you could do a nice little curve indentation pattern, but I'm just too excited to just keep going, so I haven't done that here. Magic of YouTube land, super cool. Bam, 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 bam. All done. Now I'm gonna add these symbols: winter, spring, summer, and autumn. And then I'm going to add these 4 symbols of the Ogham tree, of just some trees that spoke to me that I would wish to invoke for the year. So the ones that I've chosen is hazel, ash, oak, and birch. So I'm going to rock those on accordingly. There's no rhyme or reason, but there is my east, my spring, my south, my summer, my west, my autumn, my north, my winter. And that is my birch on the upper right, oak on the upper left, and then we have the hazel on the left lower, and the ash on the right lower right. Now here I have 4 equal parts of the string, and I'm feeding it through backwards, so I can feed it through in the back, so I'll be able to tie a loop in the backwards, so you're not going to see that. Just take your time, and you can tighten the back here too, so you're going to feed it up through the bottom, and then you're going to feed it crossover and down through the back. Sliding in the stem, I'm going to adhere that, I'm going to glue the little pieces to the side of the ash cookies. Just little bits for now, then I'll flip it and then I'll tighten it that way. And you just tie a simple left over right, right over left knot in the back. And you can just snip off the excess. There, we're going to continue to all 4 pieces. Now I had to remove, I had a black piece of leather there, and I didn't want the glare of the lights coming down, so I had that down, but I wanted rooting the leather with hot glue, so back to square one, back to my granite table, but that's okay. Now we're going to add our loop for the top. That's going to be our hanging loop. Now you're going to double up the loop. I'm just finding out how long to measure it for here. Double up the loop because I just want a little extra secure. These wood pieces are fully dried and cured since I've cut them and harvested them. And they're very, very light, but it's just, you want the little extra reinforcement when you're hanging a piece. Now I chose the ash, the oak, the hazel, and the birch tree here. The birch represents new beginnings. It brings change, and the birch of new ideas and good fortune. The ash tree is for divine process, connections with the world, spiritual inspiration, and for taking action. The oak is for strength, endurance, and opening up new doors. It's for new paths and power to endure, protection, and leadership, while the hazel is creativity, poetry, and the powers of divination, perception, inspiration, and aspiration. Now here I'm just securing the 3 pieces down with a tiny little bit of glue, and this wound up being the most fierce part of the entire project, to try to get these lined up just so. I was using a micro, and I love glue. I love hot glue. Like, it's your friend. I tend to use a lot of it and then hide it. This was very difficult for me to keep these lined up, keep everything stretched out. Oh my gosh. And then have everything lined up just so. So these things are more for decoration and balance than more than anything. A very tiny little bit of glue, a very tiny little bit of glue for the top as well. Constantly stretching it out, but hoy, it was not easy. This was the hardest part of the whole project, believe it or not. It's so funny. But I'm so pleased with the outcome. Oh my gosh, you can see on the back of this project here, the Timber Spirit stamp. I have a stamp, I do woodworking as well, and I got this brand made up, and I was practicing on the back of these cookies. So I can see what it would look like. So I don't mind that. It's not the name of the channel, it's just I was practicing my brand, literally branding my brand on some wood. Just doing some reinforcing with some hot glue, and I feel it's ready to go. So happy with my little pagan project. I feel this is very Celtic, pagan, neo-pagan. Very, very, very stoked with it. Very, very, very pleased. You can switch up the symbols of the Ogham symbols to whatever trees you desire. You can use the 3 sacred trees plus something to represent you. The 4 sacred directions you could represent. You could use the 4 elements. I chose the 4 seasons, and I just want to be able to have this up all year round in my living room. Thank you so very much for hanging out with me. If you enjoyed this craft, throw me down a little like, up, subscribe, and ring that bell so you know when the next Pagan crafting it comes out. If you would like to see something cool, if you had something in mind, something you have some folklore, you would like to bring some craft into existence, throw me down in the comments below and let's make this happen. Again, thank you so very much, and have yourself a very magical day.